What are three words you would use to describe your childhood?
Ooh, I would describe my childhood as fun, close knit, and let's see, I guess instructional. So that's what I was describe
Hmm.
my childhood. Yes.
Instructional. That's an interesting phrase.
hmm
What would make your childhood instructional?
Because we were brought up to respect our elders,
Hmm.
and every event that happened in my life or in my childhood was a learning piece.
Okay.
So we could we was always learning as a child.
Okay. All right. I like it. Thank you all for tuning
Thanks.
in to another episode of Take a Space Podcast. I am your host, Leah, and this week I am joined by Carole DeLaney as part of our real estate series. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
I was on Instagram and looking for other people to be a part of this conversation specifically because being a seller's market and how crazy everything is, people think that, oh,
Mhm.
there's no way I could ever own property or own a home. And I found the CD real estate group and I was like, oh, I want to talk to this lady and find out what she's got going on. Maybe she can offer some insight. So thank
Right.
you so much for being on the show. Can you tell the people a little bit about yourself?
Well, like you said, my name is Carole DeLaney. I am the principal broker and owner of CD Real Estate Group in Conway, Arkansas. But I serve all of Arkansas. So there isn't a place that I will not go make money and meet clients. I mean, so I am also a property manager. I've added that to my business 2 years ago.
Okay.
hmm Yes.
So when
So
did you get into, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Um, okay. And I been in the business for 15 years. I started in 2006 as a realtor, of course, and then I obtained my broker license in 2010 or 2012. And I wanted to be prepared or be in a position if an opportunity presented itself that I could either purchase an existing real estate company or open my own.
Mm,
hmm
it sounds like a lot of work.
Yes, it is. It
What
is.
what made you want to get into real estate?
Well, my two things growing up was to either be an attorney or get into sales and marketing.
Okay.
And I just always thought that real estate seemed fun. And that's how I got into it. I will tell you a story that I got a part time job at Dillard's. And they work off a commission.
Hmm.
So I said, if I can sell a merchandise at Dillard's, then I will get into real estate. And it was so fun. I met people and I enjoyed working with people, even the difficult people. I enjoyed it. And that's what really made me get into the real estate field.
Okay. So it's more of a service that you offer to the community and it's fun to you.
Yes.
I like it.
It's fun. It's fun. It's if I could say it's rewarding,
Hmm.
it's crazy. Um and I mean that's all in one. It's rewarding and crazy at the same time and I enjoy it.
You getting into real estate in 2006. Then we
hmm
had the 2008, the Great Recession.
Yes.
Then we're still in a whole pandemic.
hmm
We had quarantine and now the market is flipped again.
Yeah.
What have you experienced through those times?
Well, this pandemic is nothing like I have seen before in my 15 years of service. I've never been in a field or in the market where it was a seller's market. It was always a buyer's market. We could go in and ask for repairs. They could come down off of the purchase price and pay all of the closing. But now it is not the case. You pretty much will go in paying your own closing costs. And I spoke with another realtor. Their buyer paid the seller's closing cost. I've never ever heard of that. So it is totally different. And it's nothing that I can compare it to.
What does that mean for buyers or potential buyers?
Well, what I think it means is you cannot go in thinking or hoping that what your friends or family went through 5 years ago, that it's the same thing now. This is totally different. I feel like I have a pretty good grasp on it because I've been dealing with this pandemic in the real estate field for a year and a half. So I feel more confident in it now and can, safely get my buyers, get my sellers to be, make them comfortable and trust what I'm saying and how I am leading them towards closing on their home.
So as you begin to work with different people and as people are like, well, now's the time I think that I'm ready to buy a home.
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk me through the home buying process? Because some people think the process starts with, well, they're building a new development. Let me just go look at homes.
Well, looking at homes is great, but I would tell a buyer or a potential buyer, first, we need to know what your credit score is. And then I will ask them, have they been saving money? And what does that look like? Looks like if it's $500 or do you have $2,000 to $3,000? And then I would get them set up with a couple of one of my lenders. I work with 4 or 5 of them. And if they tell me this person is ready to buy and what they are approved for, I believe them because they are not going to send a buyer out looking for homes if they are not ready. They do not have the money saved. They do not have the credit score. They are experienced in their field and they are going to get that buyer to that point to safely buy a house and making sure that they can afford the house once they get in it. So I tell buyers, you really need to know what you are qualified for because I don't want to set them up for a heartbreak.
Right.
And what I mean by that is if they love $300,000 to $400,000 houses, but they are only approved for $100,000 house, those amenities in those two homes are totally different.
Very true.
And just because I want a $400,000 house, I probably can't afford a $400,000 house because of the income I'm bringing in and the debt I have going out. So that's what's important. I will say another thing that's important, your credit score will determine your interest rate. That is very, very important. Someone who has a 580 credit score compared to someone who has a 700 credit score, those interest rates are going to be different. And the lower your interest rate is, the more house you can get, if that makes sense.
No, that does. A lot of people are not really sure what their credit score should look like, and some are a
Hmm.
little hesitant to pull it to find out what's been on there.
Yes,
How can we encourage people to at least do go beyond the credit karma of checking, but also like pulling, because we get what, like every 12 months we get a free credit report from the bureaus, right?
that is true. And I will tell you, they will need to pull all three credit reports, because what may be on TransUnion may not be on
Mm.
Experian. And most people, when they are going to buy a car or buy a house, they may look at TransUnion more so than Equifax. So it's very important to pull all three credit scores, because there may be something on there that doesn't even belong to them, and they can go ahead and dispute that claim and get
Right.
it off of their credit report. And then they also need to know what their credit utilization is. A good credit utilization is, they need to be under 30% of your credit debt, your credit card debt.
What else is counted in the credit report?
Well, you have your on time payments. Make your payments on time. Make your payments on time. That is so important. Make sure your student loans is on your credit report. Make sure that you are not in default with your student loans. Your Is your car payment, your house, your even rent. Some people put your rent history
Mm.
on your credit report. So anything that you go and borrow and they pull your credit report, it is on your credit report. So just, kind of be careful with your credit.
After I go to a lender and I am approved or
Hmm.
pre-approved, well, let's back up. What is the difference between being pre-approved and approved for a home loan?
Well, what they do is they will take your application. They will ask for certain piece of information, and just from that, they can determine if you are pre-approved. That means that pending you do everything you're supposed to do that is required of that lender, then you can move to that pre-approval stage to that approved stage. And the pre-approver is just saying, based on everything that we have pulled thus far, you are ready to go and purchase a home. And one important thing is, do not change jobs when you are in the process of buying a home. Once we find your home, we write an offer, it is accepted. Do not do anything different until you close on that house. And so many times buyers think, well, I close tomorrow. They're not going to pull my reports so I can go and apply for this new car, because your credit score is moving up, and they think that because they do not pull their reports that they are in the clear. I tell my buyers, even when they sign on that dotted line, wait 24 hours before you go to the furniture store to apply for credit to buy furniture or get a car. Wait 24 hours, because they get a ding saying, oh, this person purchased something, and then they will pull the report. So they are basing their approval off of the income you have going in and the debt you have going out, and the income you are making right now. Is that is very important. So do not do anything. Pay everything with cash. Do not use your credit cards. You can pay your credit cards down, but do not do anything that is going to pull your credit during this process.
And let 24 hours after closing, then we can look at
Right.
whatever else you want to use your credit for.
Right. So the home buying process takes 30 to 45 days.
Okay.
On a normal closing, it takes 30 to 45 days. Now, once it goes to underwriting, they are the ones that will say, okay, everything looks good. They give you the clear to close. And I don't know if you've seen other realtors when they are excited about the clear to close, because that means we are going to the closing table and we are closing this deal. And I hold my breath until the day of closing. We are sitting at the closing table and signing. I mean, because I'm telling you, anything can happen the day, even the morning of closing.
So how much? I know a lot can change, but as the person is getting to the home buying process, how much do they have in the bank account, in their bank account to say, okay, I'm ready? Are there? I know there
Mm,
are some grants and for first time home buyers that are quickly
right.
drying up with the amount of inventory that's out there.
Mm-hmm.
But how much should I or a potential buyer have in their account when they're okay? My credit score is good. I'm up to date on everything, but now I need to know like budgeting and saving and things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature.
Mm-hmm. Right. What they really need to have is different types of loans will require a different amount of down payments.
Okay.
A conventional loan may require a buyer to put anywhere from 5% to 20%.
Okay.
An FHA loan, they require you to put down 3.5%. So, what does that look like? Say, for instance, they want a $200,000 home. And if they want a conventional loan, I would say if they get the conventional loan and they are required to put 10% down, then that means they will need to have in the bank $20,000. That's a lot of money, but they need to look at ways that they could possibly get the money. They may have a mom or dad or auntie that will gift them the money or gift them $5,000. So they may say, okay, I just really need to get $15,000 or start saving $15,000. And that is with someone with a really good credit score.
Mm-hmm.
And they normally go conventional. An FHA, most of the people go with an FHA because it only requires you to put less money down. So if you are getting $100,000 house, then that's only 3% down, and that's like $3,000.
What's FHA?
FHA is a government loan, and you can get the assistance like first time home buyers money or grant money, and where they will pay up to, and it's a different number. So it could be $5,000 to $10,000
Mm.
that they will help towards your down payment. And then before the pandemic, we could ask the sellers to pay the buyers 3% closing. But in this market, they are going in paying their own closing costs. So they need to be saving that money to at least pay their closing cost. Because with this pandemic, I have seen or I have experienced my buyer offer competing with 24 other offers at the same time. My highest number was 30. There was 30 offers on the table, and they were paying over the asking price. And they didn't ask for closing costs. They didn't ask for the home warranty. They didn't even ask for a survey. And some of them even waived the home inspection, which I never recommend to my buyers to waive the home inspection. That is very, very important. And I tell them that if we do not get this house, there will hopefully be other houses. You just need to be patient.
With having to compete with so many other offers, some people are, I have all cash, or I'm approved for X amount, or I have the check in hand, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
No appraise, no inspection, no any of the other bells and whistles that would typically come in a different market. Is it a good idea at this point to buy a home?
Yes, I would say, yeah, because you are going to compete with cash buyers. And I would say it is definitely a good time to buy because the interest rate is low.
Okay.
And there are grants for people who cannot or who do not have the money to put down for a down payment. So I think it's a great time to buy. I mean, it's hard because we don't know who we are competing with.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want them to not put an offer in, but at the same time, I don't want them to get discouraged. And I would just tell them to, if it happens, it will happen. If it's meant to be, it will come. And if this house is for you, God will open up doors. God will open up that path so that you can get this house. So
Absolutely.
I always tell them, we are going to pray about it and we're going to believe. And I tell them, don't say if, when, because I don't want people when you start thinking negativity and thinking if this happened, well, I don't know. No, we are not doing that. I'm always trying to encourage my buyers to be positive and to not give up hope.
And that goes to speak about the relationship that realtors have with their buyers.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about that relationship for a minute? Because some people assume that they just get what you get, they'll throw a fit and hope that this person has your best interest at heart. When
Right.
looking for a realtor, what should we be looking for?
Well, one, I tell buyers or clients to ask questions. Ask that realtor, how long have they been in the business? How many transactions have they closed? Because you can have someone in the business for 10 years, but they've only closed 2 deals. So to me, that's not experienced. I think an experienced realtor need to have had 10, that's a safe number, 10 closings in order to be considered experienced. I think they need to see if they have that good relationship. You can kind of, as you are talking, you can see, are they too busy? Are they not really interested? I think having that relationship between the realtor and the buyer is so vitally important. Because if they don't trust you or trust what you are saying, it will be hard as a realtor for me to do my job. And when I'm in working with buyers and they are in the process of buying, they have so many people in the background telling them, don't do that, do this. You may have your parents, you may have your sibling, you may have friends. And what I tell them is, listen to me. I have been in the business for X number of years, and I try to be as honest and as transparent as possible. And me as a realtor, I do not sugarcoat. I do not have a problem having those uncomfortable conversations. And I will tell you, one of my buyers, we closed in August, and she told her family after we closed and signed the papers, she said, Carole kept me in line because she was looking at her house that she wanted to stay within was $250,000. She found the house that was $350,000, and she sent it to me and said, hey, do you think we can go look at this house? And do you think that they will be negotiable on the price? And I said, I'm not showing you that house. It is way out of your approval amount. And no, they will not reduce their house $100,000 because you do not qualify, because you are only approved for $250,000. That's $100,000 coming off of the asking price, and we are not at that point. So I just think that talking to your clients, you just need to be honest and have that communication. Communication is key.
When, how do I want to word this? What are some ways that we can ask, not specific questions because each situation is different, but what are some ways
Mm-hmm.
that we can ask our realtor when we're unsure, especially when we hear so many other people in the background telling us, oh no, but my realtor did this. Well, I saw online that I do this, or, this article came out or this happened. What are some ways that we can communicate some trepidation, some feelings of hesitation that we're feeling during the
Mm-hmm.
process?
I think it's really important as a realtor that as you are working with your client, you will know if they have more questions, if they are hesitant, if in my process or doing the process, if I have not heard from my buyer at least one time per day, then I am reaching out and I will ask them, talk to me, what's going on? What's happening? Because I've been in their shoes and I let them know, especially when they go and talk to a mortgage lender. That is that's heartbreaking because me as a realtor, when I purchased my house, I wanted a $500,000 house, but I wasn't making $500,000 money. And I told them I had to go through the same process. And when the lender tells you this is what you are approved for, and you look at the market and there is nothing out there, and then you have people in the background saying they are not really advocating for you. They are not really looking for houses. And I just let them know, especially in Conway, our inventory is very low. I mean, we have more buyers than we have houses. I mean, there is maybe two houses on the market right now between $100,000 to $200,000. So you got 30 buyers and two houses. So it is very hard. And I know a lot of people look at Zillow, they look at I forgot the other one. It's another one. It's kind of like Zillow. And they will roll out new listings the same time as our database, but they do not update their inventory on what they have on the website as quickly as we do. So I tell them, do not look at Zillow. Zillow does not, and I don't want to um, throw any salt on anyone, but Zillow does not give our market a true analysis of what that house is worth. So I just tell them that the database that we use is current, is accurate, and it's real. So I just tell them just trust me. They will send me, I have a buyer that will send me 10 houses. And I said, that house is not on the market. The house is not on the market. The house is under contract. That house sold 3 months ago. So I just tell them what I am sending you is what is in real time.
That can be difficult, just wanting something so bad and trying
Mm-hmm.
to rush the process or move the process along as quickly as possible, but knowing that you have to communicate with 4 other parties,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a coordinated effort to purchase a
Yes.
home. And sometimes, like, because if you go to rent an apartment, it's just you in the complex, or it's you
Correct.
and the landlord. And now to buy a home, you have a coordinated effort between multiple parties, whether it's the appraiser, the inspector, the notary, the bank or the lender, the underwriter, the real estate
Title
agent or
company.
broker, like the title
Yes.
company. There's so many different people that you
Mm-hmm.
have to coordinate with, and it's such a coordinated effort. Some people can feel defeated, but it's good to know that the real estate agent and you have the real estate agent and hopefully your mortgage company that are fighting for you and letting you
Yes.
know this is the reality of the situation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is how you can be helped. Because what I've noticed in having these conversations is that even though it's not that things are bleak, they just don't meet the expectations. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
you had $500,000 home dreams, but that's not really where your wallet was at that point.
That's
So
correct.
that's not like, let's make sure the house matches the salary. So
Mm-hmm.
it's not that the situation is bleak, it's just that the expectations have to be adjusted. But once those
Correct.
expectations are adjusted, plans are put in place to move forward.
Right.
And that's a common theme that I'm noticing in these conversations is it's not all doom and gloom. The times that you feel bad is when your expectations are not met. And
Mm-hmm.
after you get over that part, then it's easier to say, okay, I know what my budget is. I know what I'm looking for. I know what I'm willing to settle for versus like my must-haves. And I
Mm-hmm.
can I can move now forward in that direction.
Correct. That is so correct. I, especially if a buyer is only approved for $80,000. That's disheartening
Yeah.
because that's really, I mean, you may not get a garage, you may only get one bathroom. And so, what I will tell them is just think of this as your starter home.
Mm-hmm.
This is not where you are going to end, this is where you are starting.
Right.
And stay there, make your mortgage, get your uh, expenses down, or work to get more income if you can.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2 to 3 years or 3 to 5, then you will get that dream home because you got to start somewhere.
Right. Right.
And,
Right.
and and I just let them know that it's okay. You are still going to be a homeowner. You are not a renter. You are no longer a renter. You are a homeowner. And
Mm-hmm.
this is just your beginning. This is not your end. And just trying to make them see that part, that you are still approved. It may not be the house that you wanted, but you are getting a home. You will stay there for a short period of time. It will go by fast. And then you can move to your next phase in life. So that's what I tell them.
That's a good way to look at it. I don't think that, because some people think, oh, when I get a mortgage and I get a home, I'm going to have to stay there for the rest of my life. Like that's what I'm settling down. And that's a good way to think about it, is that even if your approval amount is much lower than what you expected,
Mm-hmm.
work in that space until you're able to level up, whether that is paying down the expenses or, like you said, increasing your income, and or saving more so that
Mm-hmm.
you can move up into the space that you want to be in. Because sometimes when
Mm-hmm.
we take our first swing at things, it's not always going to be pretty.
That's true.
You
That
don't
is
always
totally
make the
true.
connection. So handle, God gives you what you can handle. So handle the little things.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then after you respectfully handle the little things, then we can move on to the bigger things. So
That's correct.
that's really a good way to think about it.
That is
Um,
totally correct.
I wanted to know, how do you advocate for yourself as a realtor? I know that you enjoy the crazy, busy, amazing conversations that you have, the connections that you make, the consumers and the clients that you acquire. How do
Mm-hmm.
you advocate for yourself in this space, in the real estate market? I know that there are a lot of women who are in this space, but I don't see a lot of Black women, Indigenous women, women of color who are successful, who could say, yes, I have my own successful business. I do X amount of contracts. I have a growing client base.
Mm-hmm.
How do you advocate for yourself in this space?
Well, what I do is I try to get out there and be visible. Um, I try to, have those conversations. I'm not a person who likes to talk in large crowds, but I am stepping outside of my comfort zone to be able to get out there more. Most of my clients are referrals, they are word of mouth. And my mom, before she passed, she told me, she said, Carole, you can go and spend money on billboards, on different type of crazy marketing. But if you do not have a relationship with those people, they will not use you. They may see your picture on the billboard, but they do not know you. So you need to build those relationships. And that's how I build my brand. I let people know that I am in real estate, and I just have those conversations with them. I let them ask me questions, and I let my past clients tell people their experience. People call me, and I would give them some past clients' phone numbers for them to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I don't have anything to hide. So my when I first got into the real estate field to now, now it is more social media, being on social media, posting on social media. So when I branched out and started my business in 2015, I had everything approved. I was getting ready to roll everything out. 2016, my mom got ill and she passed away. So I was in a dark place, and I kind of pulled back. I had a real strong market. I was real strong. I was doing really well in real estate at that time. So what I did was I scaled back. I ended up having 2 shoulder surgeries. And I said, either I step back, heal from my mother's death, have the surgery or have the 2 surgeries, and then come back, or keep going. And I decided I was going to step back from real estate. And for me, that was the best thing for me, because I can't take care of someone else if I am broken. So once I healed, got my new normalcy, and then had the surgeries, healed, I started coming back. Well, at that time, that was 2019, the start of the pandemic. And I think I had like 10 deals going on. Every last one of them failed. Every last one of them, all 10 deals. Then I had people that I knew using other realtors. So I stepped back and I'm like, okay, what is going on? So I started looking at my social media. Well, I wasn't posting that I was selling real estate. I wasn't posting that I had clients. I was doing this, I was doing that. People had forgotten that I was in real estate. And in 1 year, I was selling, making deals, making money, had clients, but they didn't know about it. Then that next year, everything went down. That was my first year of not being successful as an agent. Of my 15 years, I had 1 bad year. So after I had my pity party and like, what's wrong with me? I started writing down my goals, and I started taking a different direction. I started building those behind the doors relationships, partnerships, building my base again. And then start posting, because who wants to talk about themselves? And I felt like when I was posting about my sales that I was bragging, and I did not want that to come across as arrogant. I didn't. And I'm like, well, I don't want people to know that. And I don't want people calling me, asking me for money. So, I had all of those different things going on. So after I got over that and people said, Carole, no, people need to hear that. People need to see that. And I just started, doing that. But I will tell you, 2020, yes, I blew up. And I'm like, is this real? Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm ready for it. I'm ready for it now. It's getting ready to cave in. But I just make sure that I stay humble, that I give all praises to God, that I can be a testimony and say, I started out, I went rock bottom, but I'm back up, and it's okay. And I just, make sure that I give every client that I work with, whether they are purchasing a $25,000 home or a $500,000 home or $1 million home, every buyer, every seller that I work with deserves to be treated the same, no matter their skin color, no matter their sexual orientation, no matter the money in their pockets or their lack thereof. I treat every person the same. And I fight for every person, because every person deserves their realtor working for the best of them. That and I like to be able to go to bed at night knowing that I did the best job possible. So that's That's my testimony. Sorry.
No, thank you for sharing. Thank because some
Yes.
people, especially who have been successful, don't really talk about when, you know, they wanted to stop, they wanted to quit, or when things were bad. You know, what are you talking
Mm-hmm.
about? Had a bad year? No, that was just nothing. That didn't happen. It's good to hear that you are still connected with, yeah, like this can fall apart at any given time. So let me do the best I can while
Mm-hmm.
I can. So I and making the connections with people, that those relationships, I really
Mm-hmm.
do, and I really do like that because it shows that you are not just about making a deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's that relationship, and
Mm-hmm.
that relationship
Yes.
could lead to more deals, but making sure that you know on a human level, hey, I know that you need a service that I'm offering. How can I help?
Right. That's true.
So
Um, I'm sorry.
go ahead.
They, I just tell people that, go and talk to other people and just to see, because I might not be the person that they want to use, and that's okay. Right now, there is a lot of business out there for all realtors, and I just tell them to, to not give up. I tell the realtors that don't give up. I have people. I'm in this entrepreneur club that started a couple of months ago, and I had a lady come to me, and she's so super excited. She wants to get into the real estate field, and I think they think that realtors make a lot of money, and we don't, not all the time. So it takes a lot of time, and you need to make sure that you are really ready to get into the real estate field, because you will have people cuss you out. You will have people call you a liar and say, well, why should I work with a realtor? They just money hungry, and they don't really care. They just out to make money. But I'm like, well, when you're doing a job, no one wants to work for free. So you're added. That's just the added. That's the dessert. But you have your meat and potatoes right here. So I just, I just of my I will say, of my 15 years of service, I've severed ties with two clients. And one was a really big, well, I would say three. The first one was at the beginning or the start of my career, and she had already been through three realtors, but I took her on because every story is different. And I think probably that third week of her cussing me out, calling me a liar, this and that, I said, you know what? I am going to let you out of your real estate contract. I think that this is it. And it was a big deal. And my broker said, Carole, don't do it. Just, you got it. I said, you know what? My personal health is so important. And I severed that tie. The second one I had was working with a contractor, and the contractor was going to let me run or let me list all of the houses in a subdivision that he was developing. And there was probably 20, 25 houses. But I had to do something else in order for that deal to work. And I said, I'm not laying on my back for money. And I think you need to find somebody else. So, yes, that was my second one. And I'm probably, people be like, wait, what? Yeah. So, and then the third one was um, the the buyer, like I said, they were only approved for a small amount, but they wanted a large amount, and we just couldn't meet eye to eye. And I actually found her another realtor, and it was a new realtor starting out, and they had a good relationship, and they were both about the same age. And I can work with anyone, but you just got to be able to see at what point do you need to sever ties. And of my 15 years, that's pretty good to just only have 3 compared to all of the ones that I have worked with and closed and everything. So I just want to make sure that my reputation stays intact, and that I know I am worth something. So, some of the business decisions that I've made, I hope that they were I believe that they were the best decision at that time. So for me.
You're better than me. 3 weeks? 3 weeks of cussing me out. No,
Yeah.
the first time you think you're about to get buckled, no,
Yes.
I don't have whoo. I'm like, Lord, give me strength, but this whoo, I know my
Yes.
professionalism, but good Lord, no. Oh. And then to be approached and say, well, yeah, I can give this to you, but let me get a little something on the side. Sir, what?
Right.
When? Who raised you? How do you fix your face to say things like that? How many times have this worked? Like, what is happening? What?
Right. It is so common
Oh
in
my
our field.
word! Are you serious?
So yes, it is. I can probably, I've had 4 advances, and I said I keep my professional life professional, and I keep my personal life personal. So I am not going to mix the two. And hey, all money is not good money. And
Ain't
I
that the
just,
truth? Ain't that the
so,
truth? Ain't that the
so
truth?
I just tell people that. I tell realtors, just don't get caught up, be as professional as possible. Now, once that deal is over and months later, if they come and approach you the right way, then okay, but at that time or during that time, keep it strictly business.
Mm. I have no words. That is sick a lot. I was like,
You're like, oh man.
what?
So
How?
yeah,
What?
it's a lot. Yeah. We are, not only are we realtors, we are counselors, we are therapists. I mean, you would have, I've had clients to cry. They are having some really hard days, and we just sit up and talk and cry and laugh. And it's not an after 5, like after 5, I'm done. I'm done with this. I have worked deals or talked to clients until 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, trying to keep them on the path, because it is very hard to buy a house once you are approved. It's a process. Say for instance, your car breakdown and it's $500, but you can't go buy a new car, but you still need to get the work to keep your job so you can close on this house.
Right.
And people will call and ask a buyer for something, and that form is at home. So I always tell my buyers, all of your documents, keep them close, scan them, have a file, keep a hard copy, because I will tell you, a lender or underwriter will call you and ask for a document that you do not have. You could be on the beach, you could be at the supermarket, you could be anywhere. And then I keep my files, and I tell them, because they will see me. I'm like, wait, hey, hold on. I have that. Let me scan it. Let me send it to you. I'll forward it to you. And I forwarded probably 5 documents of the same document. But hey, if they want it, you need to send it. So our job is, like, after we get that accepted contract, we are busy too. We are dealing with the title company. We are dealing with the other agent. We are trying to get the home inspection schedule, get the appraisal there, while working with other clients. Because people think, oh, well, she is just my realtor, but I may have 5 other clients that I am working that are trying to close at the same time or during the same
Right.
time. So just because I don't answer my phone doesn't mean that I am not busy. So, I'll just send a text. I will call you later at a home inspection or what have you. So, I just tell people just to give us grace. It's not that we are avoiding you. I
Mm-hmm.
try to make sure I call my clients within that same day. I never, if they leave me a message or send me a text message, I always make contact with them that same day.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for having this conversation with me.
Thank you.
Um, Thank you for the information, firstly, for letting us know where we can start, and just having
Hmm.
those conversations and learning how to advocate for ourselves, especially during the home buying process. It's an arduous task, but if the expectations are adjusted, then it will go a lot smoother. But
Hmm.
thank you for having that kind of conversation with us and sharing your personal story. I appreciate hearing people's personal stories because they
Hmm.
inspire the listeners to say, well, maybe I can take a space in this arena, or maybe I can at least try. So
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
appreciate that.
Yes.
Now is your time to plug any and everything you have going on. If you have courses, your socials, ways that people can contact you, any resources that you have available that people can use, it's your time to shine.
Oh, well, thank you. Like I said, you can get in contact with me if you are in the Arkansas area, or if you know someone that is transferring to the Arkansas area. They can call me at area code 501-541-8608. You can find me on Instagram at CD underscore real estate group. You can also find me on Facebook at cdreg. You can also get onto my website, and it's www.cdrealestategroup.inc.com. You can also search me on Google. um, I am currently in a Leadership Institute program. We are meeting 2 more times, and then I will graduate next month. Well, I will graduate in January. And then I was presented with the opportunity to start or get enrolled into a women's leadership network group, and we will start in January. And they only pit 17 women, 17 women leaders in the community. And I was picked as one of the 17. That is a huge accomplishment to be able to work with other women, diverse women, women in different fields, to be able to connect and make a difference in our community. The other things that I have going on is I am trying to expand my property management. I do work with rentals. I've had that added to my company 2 years ago. I also am in the Airbnb. So if you are in the Arkansas area, Conway area, and you're looking for a place to rent, for if it's for a weekend or a short-term stay until you get acclimated into our community, you're more than welcome to look up our Airbnb. It's a 3 bedroom duplex, and you can also find that link onto my website. I am here to answer any questions, and I just thank you all for the opportunity. I really thank you for the invite.
Well, thank you so much for accepting. Y'all make sure y'all go follow Carole DeLaney. Make sure that you check out the website. Hit her up on Instagram with any questions that you may have. And even if you're not in the Arkansas area, I'm sure she'll be able to send you over to some real estate agents or lenders who will be able to help you to get you the resources that you need in your particular situation. Like she said, now is a good time to buy. Interest rates are low. Even if you feel you don't have the money in the bank, you need a plan to get started to know where to go. So ask the question. Just reach out, ask the question. It couldn't hurt. Thank you so much for being on the show. I really do appreciate you. Y'all make sure y'all follow her and then follow us at Take Up Space Pod. That's Take Up Space POD on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And then also make sure to follow us on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you'll see our lovely faces and get notifications every time we upload a new video. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all have a great day.